Oh, Halloween. This is Halloween Explosion, by the way. What can I say about Halloween? Well, to be fair, even though it's one of my all-time favorite holidays, it's been kind of watered down over the years. However, there's another thing I like to talk about what's been watered down. Rock and roll. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jane, the music what people used to dance to back in the 50s, early 60s. Are you crazy? Yes, I am crazy, but I have a point. Believe it or not, rock and roll actually used to be, I don't know. Oh yeah, shocking. But aside from that, it also used to be crazy and dark. What am I talking about? The darker side of rock and roll. We're going to be talking about the spookier side. So kick back and relax as we talk about rock and roll's spookyism. Now, to be fair, it's kind of hard to point out what was the first spooky song of rock and roll. Of course, you can always go back and you can find a lot of them, of course. But it was Bobby Pickett's Monster Mash from 1961, what really rocked the zeitgeist. I guess you need to think about it in this context. Coming out of the 50s, the monster craze wasn't over, but it was still popular, but it was about to be kind of, like I said, watered down. The song kind of played up the more fun, but still spookiness of the genre. And of course, in 1956, you also have Screaming Jay Hawkins' I Put a Spell on You. Believe it or not, it was banned for the time because people thought he was talking about cannibalism. Which, to be fair, it kind of does sound like that, which I know would be shocking for the 50s. It kind of, at the time, blurred the danger of rock and roll with the more spookiness atmosphere. What bands like the Cramps would do later, don't worry, we'll get to them in a second. I think this song still holds up, honestly. I love this song. And you know what's weird listening to it again? You can kind of tell the time when rock and roll was about to become, I don't want to say serious, but you can tell it was about to become about different topics. We often like to think that the 60s and psychedelic rock was a time where topics were changed, but really, this guy proved that rock and roll can be pretty much about anything outside of dancing with your best girl. Now, shock rock. Now, I was trying to debate if I should do Alice Cooper or the Weird World of Arthur Brown for this one. But to be fair, come on. If you think of shock rock, you pretty much think of Alice Cooper at this point. And what's interesting about Alice Cooper, he took everything what came before and he kind of spit it up. I think Alice Cooper was the pinnacle where rock and roll could be shocking again. And of course, you got one of my favorite bands, the Cramps. The influencers of psychobilly. They're actually one of the coolest bands of all time, mixing horror, psychobilly influences, and of course B-movie horror and just weird stuff together. I mean, look at Rux. He looks like a Frankenstein monster. It was awesome. And of course, we can't talk about the Cramps without talking about Poison Ivy. Pretty much the backbone of all of the songs because she played guitar for them all the time. I may have to do a history of the Cramps because, man, they rocked. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this kind of slew history, kind of loose history of the spookier side of rock and roll. See ya.